Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy New Year from NYI FYI. I'm Sean Croft. Chris Hessel is with me as always, and this is going to be a really good year for NYI FYI. You know, Chris, I'm excited. We got the webcam now.
Yes, it's very nice.
So
yes,
you guys are going to see some changes going on in the next, well, really over the course of the next year and moving forward, which we think you guys are really going to enjoy. You're going to see Chris and I do some candid videos like this. You know, things break, last minute, like we had the James Wisniewski trade earlier this week, Dwayne Rollison last night. Something where if it happens, Rollison, it worked out well because it was last night, it was late. We had the show today, but for the Wisniewski trade, that was something that
middle
had
of the
happened.
week,
Middle of the
or
week.
even something like Scott Gordon getting fired. We got together in the middle of the week and made a podcast. This would be a much better arena to do this.
Yeah, you know, it's great to get together and do the podcast, but I think that, you know, to get together to do a 5 or 10 minute podcast, it's cool, but I think it's better off, and I think people would like it more if it's a video and it's a little bit more candid, and we can sit here and it's more like a news broadcast type of deal. But I'm excited for it.
Me too. It's a cool little addition to our show, I think.
Yeah, and you guys probably caught us today on Ustream. That's going to be every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock.
Right.
You know, of course, if there's something else going on and we can't be here, we'll, of course, make arrangements. But I think that that's going to be the time slot that works best for everybody. It works best for you and I. It seems to work best for most of the listeners. But the first one was today and seemed to go pretty well.
It did go very well. I mean, first one using our new webcam here, and it did go very well. We had the ability to add polls, the ability to have the chat room up and running. So it definitely adds a little something. We're still playing around with things. So if you see something weird pop up or anything, that's just us playing. It probably won't be there very long, but a lot of bells and whistles to go with, and it is a lot to learn. So we're trying this out and everything, and it seems to be going well so far.
Yeah, I mean, trial thing. But it's going to get better as time goes on. But it was a good show today, and like we said, very excited to be able to move on. Hey, Chris, what we didn't talk about today, and I think this will be a good forum, we'll touch upon it quickly. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Winter Classic today.
No, we didn't.
We had a lot going on, of course, in the world of Islander country. If you guys saw the Winter Classic, it really was a pretty good game to watch.
It was, yeah. It had a lot of intensity, a lot of excitement. Washington Capitals won 3-1. Which was certainly a big story, because a lot of people, I think, were thinking Pittsburgh would win, their home arena and stuff going into the game. But definitely a very exciting game. For the players, too, you could see Ovechkin start to celebrate with 15 seconds left on the clock, with the game time running down. But certainly something very cool that they do every year. It rained for like half the game, too, right?
Yeah, it did. And that was a big concern for everybody. That's why the game was actually pushed back from 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock, was because of the warm weather and the rain, and they were afraid that the ice was not going to be level. And honestly, the Winter Classic is such a great thing, but you would hate to see players break their ankles, because that's all you need is for the ice to start chipping away and for a skate to get lodged in a crack. And for, God forbid, a player, especially like Sidney Crosby, who, neither one of us like very much, and the league, most fans, I don't think, have a real love for him. And that's another story for another day, is the way that we believe that the league should take Sidney Crosby and some of the other ways that they market. But he is the big guy in the league. And for the national audience that doesn't necessarily watch hockey, that's who they turn on to watch. So it would just be abysmal for the NHL to lose a player like him, or a player like Malkin, or a player like Ovechkin.
Right.
Or a player like Alexander Semin. These players that really are so important to their teams and really important to the games, especially when you go into the second half of the year with these NBC broadcasts. And let's be real, it's the same teams over and over again. But people want to see these guys score. So if you lose one of them for the rest of the year because they break their ankle on the ice, it would just be completely devastating to not only the teams, but to the league as a whole.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's always something that's a concern. And I know a lot of people were saying, no, if it rains too much, they won't even play the game. They'll postpone it, and they'll just play it again in the Consol Energy Center, or rather than at Heinz Field. But I'm glad that they were able to go through with it. I mean, like you said, it is a risk that you take. There was actually another outdoor game last night, wasn't there, between Calgary and someone else? Montreal.
Is that later? I thought that was in February.
Oh, maybe it is in February.
I think that's in February, and that's something that we have to check back on as well. But I think it is later into the year. But there were actually...
Shows how much I know.
Well, yeah, but you know why? But there were talks about them doing it
on the same
day, which would never have made any sense.
Unfortunately, they don't talk much about that one, because it's in Canada.
Very quiet.
It's unfortunate.
I think it's going to be one of these things that flies under the
Yeah,
radar.
I know. A lot of people I know weren't happy with the broadcast that NBC provided yesterday. They were very unhappy with the way that worked out. I don't know. You know, it's the way that the league is. I mean, they NBC broadcast it the way that they want to broadcast it, and I guess maybe it was too centered on the Ovechkin Crosby thing, too much so for some people, but that's the way that the league's gonna do it, and they're not dumb. They're gonna broadcast their best players, and that's what the whole thing was centered around. We always saw the pictures of Crosby and Ovechkin. The whole thing with the HBO 24/7. You're centering it on Crosby and Ovechkin. So
Right. I mean, I was at somebody's house watching the game, and I'm not sure if they had the NHL package or not, because if I was watching it here, I would have watched the Hockey Night in Canada feed on the NHL network. But we ended up watching the
I think
the
that's
national
where I'm getting
broadcast.
confused, because I know some people watched it on the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, and they were comparing it to Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, which is obviously going to be much better than the NBC one. No disrespect to them, but hockey is best done in Canada, and presentation wise, that's where the best is going to be.
But
So,
it was a good game to watch, and we didn't get a chance to touch upon it during the show, so we figured we'd touch upon it a little
why
bit
not?
now.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby did get hit pretty
Yes,
hard,
he did.
and there are some people that are wondering if that was something that was planned, if that was a planned hit. I don't really know. I mean, he got his bell rung. For the sake of the league and for what they're trying to do, you're happy that he didn't get hurt. But I didn't mind seeing him get his clock cleaned. I'm not a big fan of the guy. I mean, look, for what it's worth, I don't like seeing anybody get hit blindsided, regardless of whether I love the guy or not. But I mean, to me, it was kind of an open ice hit.
It was, yeah.
I mean, I don't think there was.
Was he hurt on the play?
He was down on the ice for a few seconds, but it didn't knock him out of the game. I mean,
he still played. That's true.
So you're glad to see that, but. It was good to see the Capitals win, and it's really exciting when you see the players, Chris, and I'm sure that you noticed this as well as everybody else. When you watch a guy play in an arena, it's always great to watch them score. There's always an excitement when they score a goal. But did you see how excited these guys were and how amped up they were when they scored a goal? It was like a game-winning goal in overtime every time they scored. Whether it was Malkin hopping into the bench or the Capitals jumping all over each other up against the glass, there is just such a sense of excitement in the Winter Classic. It really is. Next to maybe a game-winning Stanley Cup final, it's the best hockey.
Well, that's what I mean by the excitement. I mean, for the players. I mean, you could just see Ovechkin starting to celebrate with 15 seconds left. I mean, this was like, I think it was Bruce Boudreau who said this was the closest to the Stanley Cup we've really come, which is good and bad. With that statement can be good or bad, interpreted. But for the team that is trying to get to the Stanley Cup Finals and has always been projected to go far and basically has choked, for in these last few years, really. It's nice to see them play an important game like this, get excited about it, know that they can play better than they have been, and for them to be a part of it and on a national stage, they know. Prove to the world, listen, we are this good, we can win. We're really close there. We are that team that people say we can be. We just haven't been playing up to it. They knew what was writing on it. So obviously, for them, a great story for them to be able to pull out that win. A lot of people are looking at them. Obviously, we traded Dwayne Rolson, not to them, and they were supposedly the favorites for him. So, definitely that's a team that they know what they can do. They know that they haven't been playing well. Anybody who's watched the HBO special knows that that's how they feel. So certainly nice to see them pull that out on the national stage and prove to everybody we know what we can do, what we're capable of.
And you start wondering now where the Winter Classic goes for next year. And every year there's always the talks of Islanders, Rangers at Citi Field, at Yankee Stadium. It wouldn't surprise me either if we had it at the new Meadowlands. However, if it's at the new Meadowlands, the way that I've thought for a long time, it would be great to see Islanders, Rangers. It's a great rivalry, and a lot of the players have said they'd love to see it. But the Islanders are not going to capture a national audience. And what I think you are going to see in the Winter Classic, if it's next year or the year after, if it's at Citi Field, you might see the Islanders because it's closer to the island. If it's at Yankee Stadium or where I think it might even be more likely to be at the new Meadowlands, it's going to be the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's been the talk. I mean, a lot of people have speculated that if there's going to be one that involves New York teams, it's going to be the Rangers and the Devils. A lot of people actually thought it would be like a Rangers Canadians or a Rangers Capitals before they came out with Capitals Penguins. I think as far as likely scenarios, you keep hearing talk about it, but there's talk that maybe the next one would be at Target Field over in Minnesota. You put the Dallas Stars against the Minnesota Wild, which would make a lot of sense,
Yeah.
obviously. And a lot of people seem to be plugging for that one to be the next one. And we haven't heard anything, obviously, but of course, at this time of year, the rumors pop up again with, is there going to be one at Citi Field? Is there going to be one in the Meadowlands? You know, certainly if the Islanders were maybe a little bit further along in their development here, you know, then maybe that they would be more of a realistic option, but it definitely seems that a lot of people are pinning their hopes on the Dallas Wild one happening.
No, and that would be great to see the old Minnesota North Stars come back into Minnesota. You know they're going to be wearing North Star jerseys, and it's really going to be great to see. And I think it would just be fun for the fans. And I feel that in that type of situation, they'll root for the Minnesota Wild, but if the Dallas Stars win in the old Minnesota North Star jerseys, I don't think there's going to be anybody booing. I think that it'll be a win-win for everybody, really, in the situation. But thanks for joining us today. This was the first of what's going to be many of these little videos that go up on YouTube. And again, Chris and I are just happy to be here. These quick little video hits or something that's going to be fun. If it's something that breaks in the middle of the week, or if it's something that we couldn't get to during NYI, FYI, something maybe during like the Winter Classic that, you know, not really involved so much with NYI, FYI, but we like to bring it up and talk about it.
Right.
But you know, again, Happy New Year. Hope you guys had a great holiday season, and we're looking forward to a really big year. Make sure that you guys go to Twitter. NYIFYI is the username on Twitter. You guys go over there, follow us. You guys will get all of the information first. Go to NYIFYI.com, sign up for the newsletter. Again, you'll get all the news first. Follow us on Facebook. Be our friend on Facebook.
Check out the blog.
Check out the blog, of course. NYIFYI.blogspot.com, or you can go directly through NYIFYI.com, or you can go through the New York Islanders through the Blogbox site.
Right. Absolutely. They put up the links. They have a thing, too, a special thing where they have in the media, and every morning they put up links from various newspapers and those of us in the blog box. So occasionally, if they'll have a story up in time when they see it, they'll take that and put it up in the media section of NewYorkIslanders.com.
Yeah, and there's 1,000,001 ways to get to the podcast, as you guys have been following for years.
Yes.
No more excuses. Or, of course, you can go to Ustream and find the NYIFYI channel on Ustream.
Right. We have the YouTube page. We got a whole lot of content for you guys.
It's going to be a really big year, and we anticipate on doing a lot of really great things, and we look forward to having you guys as a part of it. So until next time, we'll see you around. And Sunday mornings, 11 o'clock on Ucaster, and you guys know where to go to get the podcast when the show's done.
Right.